Good afternoon, Tierra. Thank you so much for being here. I am so excited to start our adventure here and have this beautiful conversation together. But before we get started in these questions and this authentic, amazing conversation, I'm going to tell everybody a little bit more about you. So Miss Tierra Womack is an MBA, a multi-best-selling author, host of Wealthy Women by Design show, speaker and founder of The Brave Way, is a serial mompreneur of 18 years whose businesses have generated over 7 figures. As a human design-based business guide, alignment, and wealth coach, Tierra helps female founders, experts, and thought leaders shift their money sabotaging habits, align their business with their purpose, and learn how to earn six figures in a year working less than 8 days a month, with VIP days based on their expertise and human design. So without further ado, Tierra, please let's just start in this conversation. It's going to be amazing.
Yes. Well, I just want to start by thanking you so much. When I tell you what you are creating is so needed in the world, I wish when I was first starting out on my journey that I had a summit like this. I mean, this is like epic. And I feel like, women around the world, mothers around the world need to hear these conversations to know that they're not alone in whatever, part of their journey they're in. So thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here. I'm so excited to learn more from you.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say thank you. Thank you again. I feel like these conversations are so important and I'm very excited.
Awesome. I'm so excited to learn. And so when I've been out of a narcissistic abusive relationship for 12 years. And so like you said, I wish I would have, that's why we're here today. Because 12 years ago, I really, like you, really needed something like this to really empower me, or just realize that I wasn't alone in these thoughts, these beliefs, this struggle, right? This victim struggle into starting over. And money, it just kind of gets in the way of a lot of things. And it's really, I believe, it's about worthiness. I feel like money and the worthiness journey are hand in hand. And we get to shift that today in this conversation. So for those, maybe some women that are watching this in our audience are brand new out of a relationship. Maybe they're still in it and they're like, I am stuck in this because he holds the money story in our relationship. I don't have my own money. Maybe I didn't go to college. Like, who am I to just start over? So let's just have this conversation, open conversation. What is the best way to create a different money story, maybe based upon our human design, or just in different, if you're a professional or a non-professional, how does that look different?
Oh my goodness. So first of all, when you talk about the women I have conversation with that have been like us, that have been in narcissistic abusive relationships, these types of toxic relationships affect women in all facets, right? All levels of wealth. But what I am finding is that more and more women are coming out of the shadows who are very successful, right? Who are traditionally pillars in the community. And that was me, right? I call like it being top of the leaderboard in the community, but bottom of the leaderboard in my relationship, because I had a 7-figure business, 7-figure life. I had that mask on and I wore it so well, but behind closed doors, I was dealing with 2 long-term narcissistic abusive relationships. And there's so much shame and embarrassment that comes with, like, how can I have 40 employees? How can I have this, right? How can I be ambitious and be on boards and doing all these things to lift up the community, right? And my employees, but I am dealing with this. I am letting this happen to me. What I always say is that narcissists do not break into poor houses, they break into mansions. So what do I mean by that, ladies? I mean that if you have been in a narcissistic abusive relationship, have compassion for yourself, because let me tell you something, narcissists always go for the best of the best of the best of the best to put themselves on a pedestal. So if they had their eyes set on you, it is for good reason. You glow, you shine. shine. They saw something in you that is beautiful, that a lot of times when we've gone through that abuse, we don't see in ourselves, right? We know was there at a certain point, but then you become what I call a shell of yourself, and you feel as though you don't even know who you are anymore because you're so used to walking on eggshells to keep the narc happy, or to, not to have another argument, or whatever that looked like for you in those types of toxic relationships. Even if it's not just an intimate relationship, it could be with, within your work environment, with parents, with family, but whatever that looks like, you find yourself becoming a shell of yourself. And I always say that the number one thing that helped me on my journey, that helps my clients, right, and that I will attest to forevermore, is learning to feel worthy of rebuilding massively. Because if we have to rebuild, and this can be after any pivot, after a divorce, after a career change, it doesn't just have to be after narc abuse. But if we have to rebuild, let's do it massively. Let's do it our way, right? If we have to do it anyway, let's make this feel good. Let's step into pleasure. Let's make it joyful, right? So that's been my number one thing, was working on those modalities, including human design, where I would feel more and more worthy of rebuilding success, of, because I walked away from that whole life, that whole 7-figure, all of this and that, and started over from zero on an air mattress with my 2 sons in one of my best friend's living rooms, right? So literally starting over. And that was a time when I said, okay, I need to get back to me. I need to get back to my passions. If I'm going to rebuild, I'm going to rebuild massively. And I now am in the process of feeling worthy of doing so. I am feeling worthy of being wealthy, because a lot of ambitious women that I speak with, right? A lot of moms that I speak with, they have the confidence to build the wealth. They have the confidence to be successful, but they don't feel worthy of it. So then they go into these cycles of feast and famine and ask me how I know. Yeah. Mhm.
Yes. So I hear you and I feel all of this. I'm like going back and I'm like thinking about the starting over and the breakthrough that gets to create. And I feel like this is true. Like, even if we just had this conversation in my Phoenix Rising group yesterday, I was like, it doesn't have to be a significant other. It can be absolutely a family member. It can be part of your work environment, that kind of thing. And so as you're talking about rebuilding and you're talking about building your worth, how do you, like, I might have all the passion, all the zest, and like, not the confidence, because that's not here yet, but I might have the passion. I want to do it for my kids. I want to create more. But how do you switch into finding your worth? How do you break through and start repairing that?
Mhm. So for me, I used like EFT, tapping, um, a lot of visualization, affirmations and whatnot. But even with that, I had to realize, like, I wasn't at the point to stare in the mirror and say, I am worthy of wealth. No, I wasn't feeling that. Like, that landed. And the thing is, we don't deliberately co-create anything in our world, especially around money and abundance, if we don't trust ourselves and we don't believe ourselves, right? So I had to step more so into activations and word tracks of, I am in the process of. I am in the process of feeling worthy to be wealthy, right? And so that landed differently. It felt good in my nervous system, and I could receive that. And then I stumbled across human design. And for years, I was like, this is not, like, I don't know what this is. It's not for me. And one day I sat down and really, dove into human design, and it changed my life from the standpoint of allowing me to get out of my mind, out of the limiting beliefs, and go to a deeper place from our intuition, so that I could truly get to a place of trusting myself. Because the intuition, we all have it. We all have it. It's just a matter of if we listen to it or not, right? Ladies, that gut feeling that comes up, that is your intuition that is guiding us and wants to guide us at all times on all decisions in our life. So when I came across human design, there's what we call 9 centers within our human design. And so for me, I have what's called an undefined ego center, and that's all about your self-worth. right? And so in that undefined area, you carry more conditioning, right? Maybe more limiting beliefs, you know, whatever word resonates more. And so once I saw that in my design, I could say, okay, so I know that I am somebody, even as a coach and a mentor and all of these things, I am somebody that every day has to work on my self-worth. First thing in the morning, right? Maybe other people have to work on other things, but for me, I have to work on my self-worth every morning, knowing I'm worthy of all the great things that life has to offer. Right. So I would say for anybody that is rebuilding, you know, in rebuild mode, even if they're happily married or, you know what I mean, but they're just getting back to a place of passion for themselves, it's like understanding who you are at the core beneath all of the limiting beliefs, right? Beneath all of the conditioning and anything else that we've been taught about building money or wanting more money being bad, you know, like you shouldn't want more, you're doing okay, you know, just be a nice little girl and be quiet. And I just feel like, no, I want unapologetic wealth. And the people that I see, they want that too. And they want a place where they can feel safe to voice that.
Absolutely, absolutely. I love this. And so I have had my human design. This is massively, I hope ladies you're taking notes because this is huge. And in my experience, like I am newly married. I've been married for about a year and a half. And every day we get to practice this, right? I get to practice, I am like you, and I get to practice, I am worthy of all of this, right? Even I am worthy of the love that is shared and the support that is given, and the bottom isn't going to fall out. Like I get to tell my brain these things all the time. And human design is complicated for me. I have no idea why. I've looked at my chart. I'm like, what are all these lines and these red things and the dots? And like, why is this connected? Why is this not? And so in my experience, it's like, what are your strengths? What are your core beliefs? What are your strengths? And that's what I leaned on. But the more that I learn about how I am created intuitively, like to my core, who I am, the more I get to shift in the powerful woman that I want to be. The more that I learn and dive into how I am created. We all have a mission, right? We all have this passion. God didn't give us a mission to create or a dream in our mind to suffer and never see it come into fruition, right? And so he just puts that in there and we get to create the journey. And so I really feel like the more we learn about our design, the way we are created, how we work, how our brain works, how intuitive we are, where our empathy lies, where our chakras are open or closed. Like I feel like, you know, my third eye is wide open. So many things come in, right? Yeah. And so I do know that about myself, right? And so this is a great learning curve. This is a great start. So how does one learn how to read their chart? What do you need to know to even dive into your human design? Let's just start there.
Yeah, so it's so funny because you only need 4 pieces of information for this complex system, right? But it's a beautiful system though. And so you need your birth, first and last name, birth date, birth time, and birth city and state or parish, you know, depending on where you were born. Now, I can still pull charts if you don't have your birth time, because some people don't have that. And you want it, if you do have your birth time, you want it accurate, not like, well, my mom said the sun was rising, you know, when she was going into labor. So I think it was about, you know, 6 a.m. Like, no, we want to be accurate if we can, but there are some different things that I can do to pull a chart. A chart is completely free. And since there is so much information that can come about in human design, which is really this beautiful modality that tells you your life purpose. So many of us moms, we feel like our kids are our purpose, right? And, you know, but we don't feel like we're really connected to our purpose. And so human design gives you that, like, you know, black and white, what is your purpose? And also, like you said, your strengths, and then some areas that you may be more prone to conditioning, you know, things of that nature in your life. But once you're able to have your chart in front of you, I say, if you can walk away knowing your type, okay, there are 5 types of energy in the world. If you know your strategy and your themes, then you are ahead of 99% of the world who've never even heard of human design. Because, for instance, human design tells you very quickly when you're out of alignment and in alignment. And I mean, think of like what areas that can apply in dating, when you're, in your work environment, with family, with friends, like when people aren't aligned with you, you can quickly, or the things that you're doing aren't aligned, you can quickly say, okay, this isn't it, right? Instead of
Mhm.
just pushing through in that hustle mode that leads us to burnout. So for instance, I'm a generator energy type. And so when I'm in alignment, then I feel satisfaction. When I'm out of alignment, I feel frustration, right? So
Mhm.
simple as that, I can quickly feel into, okay, this is frustrating me. What I'm doing is frustrating me. Who I'm around is frustrating me. So maybe, this is out of alignment. And then you have like projectors. That's another energy type. First of all, projectors are only here to work 2 to 4 hours a day, right? They're here to teach us a new way to live our lives in creating and generating money. So, the whole 8, 10 hour days will quickly lead projectors to burnout. But all of that is to say, a projector, when they're in alignment, then they're going to feel a sense of success. And when they're out of alignment, they feel bitterness, right? So it's like we each have these ways that we are led to know when we are out of alignment, because we're here to live a life in alignment. So that's the number one thing I would say. If you, out of all the other colors and lines and everything else, if you can just understand your type and your themes and your strategy for decision making, you will get to such a beautiful place of trusting yourself before the mind has a chance to kick in. Because it's proven that when we follow our energy, energy is always going to follow the path of least resistance, right?
Mhm.
So
Absolutely.
when you are making a decision or you're having a thought, you have 3 seconds to follow your intuition, which is always giving you guidance before the mind kicks in. Just 3 seconds. Okay.
It's
And
not many.
usually we wait and talk ourselves out of the intuition, and then the mind kicks in and we're like, oh, okay, we'll move forward with that. And we make it more difficult for ourselves. But human design has been so pivotal in helping me heal money trauma, helping my clients heal money trauma. And it's really a beautiful, although complex at times, but such a beautiful tool.
Absolutely. It sounds absolutely amazing. And I'm a manifesting generator. And I don't know the themes. I think that what I was told last is I was meant to be a teacher.
Mhm.
And so here we are.
Are you a one
Showcasing it.
line?
Huh?
Like there are numbers in your profile. Is there a 1 in your profile?
I don't remember. There's a
Okay.
6. I know
Okay.
there's a
So you might be a 6 one. Yeah.
yeah. So I get to look at it again. I will share it with you, Tierra, because I think it is amazing. But this is such an alignment because, and you guys might be like, what does this have to do with emotional health, right? What does this have to do with anxiety or emotional health or the waves of motherhood? I feel like every stage that we're in, like you said, what really landed for me in this last statement was, um, we pour everything into our children. I feel like our mothers are like, and in my experience, after the 2 abusive relationships that I had and that longevity of that narcissistic abuse, um, I really poured everything into my kids. Like I was their protector. I was there. It was just this victim mentality, right? The cortisol level was super high. And in my world right now, I'm home by myself. My kids are in college. And so I had this complete other reflection this last August of what the hell do I do now?
Yeah.
Like, what is my purpose now? And that is why I started really diving in more to my human design, because I was like, what is there out here for me besides taking care of my kids and fixing all of the stuff that comes up for them, right? Um, and so there's so many different avenues of being a mother. And I really feel like money is such a trigger. I feel like money has such a complex learning. We've just been told so many negative things about money, right? And then maybe we had a negative perception of money while we were in different relationships, or maybe somebody dismissed our ability to make money for so long that we just don't even know the first ways to start working on it. Money isn't the root of all evil. Good people with money can make a massive impact in the world. And women that are here in this audience are good people, and you guys all have a massive passion to create something different for you. And money, it feels like so completely connected to your worth. And it doesn't have to be, but I feel like as soon as we land that I am freaking worthy of goodness and possibility, the money thing comes with it. I feel like it's a worthy thing.
Mm-hmm.
How does that resonate? I'm just like,
I'm like, I'm holding my hands like this so I don't go like, yes, all of what you just said. Yes, I mean, it runs so deep. I mean, just piggybacking off of what you just said, I know for me, a money story that I carried was that single mom struggle. So guess who wanted to stay in the narcissistic abusive relationships because I didn't want to be a single mom. You know, yes, I stayed for the lifestyle and for the money and things of that nature, just being fully transparent. But at the same time, I stayed because I wanted a two-parent home for my sons because I saw my mother struggle as a single mother. I saw her mother. You know, I heard stories about how her mother struggled as a single mother. And so I'm like, oh, the last thing I want is to be a single mother. And of course, we know what we concentrate on, right? What we focus on, we create. So I found myself, but it was like I had to walk away to save not only myself, but my children, to show them what a healthy home, healthy love looks like. And so it was important for me to do that. But at the same time, I know I stayed longer because of that single mother money story. Right. And so there were moments in rebuilding where I carried that in, that single mom struggles, single moms have it harder, single moms don't have as much support. So I was creating that in my life. And then I started to shift again once I understood those what are called like prosperity areas within my human design. Right. Once I understood my purpose, once I understood my strengths and my unique gifts, because keep in mind, no two human design charts are the same, even for twins. So it's like we all have these aspects. So once I understood that, I said, okay, let me build a business. And, you know, my persona that I am embodying, this prosperous individual that I am embodying, let me build this based on the most flow and ease and alignment I can bring into my life. You know, because I believe that I can build success again, but how easy will I let life be? How easy will I let business be? How easy will I let love be in this next round of relationships, right? So for me, I there was such a correlation between money trauma, my money stories, and me rebuilding as well. You know what I mean? So it was this direct line to my children, yes, staying in the relationship, but also my reason for leaving as well.
I totally resonate with that. And I agree. I stayed for 7 years longer than I should have. I actually filed for divorce when I was pregnant with my second child and didn't get divorced until she was 8.
Yeah.
So I totally resonate with that. And so if you guys are thinking like how, you know, this is so connected to our stories. Like I resonate with you so much in the money story and this belief of our genetic code. And I work with generational emotional mapping. And so what you said just a minute ago really landed of, I saw my mother be a single mother. I knew what her family dealt with, her mother stayed in a relationship the entire time, and it wasn't a great relationship, right? And then so it is passed down so many times. It's in our genetic code or part of our human design that we have these different factors in us, right? And so the more you can learn on how you run, how you work it'll make that shifting into your purpose, shifting into creating something different for you and your kids so much easier if you can understand and dive a deeper level into who you were meant to be. or getting back into the person you used to be before somebody else sabotaged you, right? Just sabotage your brain and your thoughts and your self-worth. And we get to rebuild. And when we do rebuild, I totally agree, is we get to make it freaking awesome. We get to rebuild this house and with alignment as to where we want to go, in alignment of who we want to show up as, the mother that we get to bring in the love that we deserve, need, and want. And we get to show our kids a different way. So it breaks that cycle. So it breaks that chain for them as they grow up. The last thing that I want, as well as you, Tierra, I'm sure, is that our kids do the same thing. And they're like, I watched my mom. No, her boys are going to be like, I watched my mom be a badass. I watched my mom create this massive shift in our life on her own. And she helps so many other women do the same thing. That is why we're here for that. That's why we're here in front of you today, is we're like, it was a mess. It wasn't easy. We dove into self-development. We figured out how we run. We figured out how to change our story. So we break the chains for our kids. And by God, watch how we created this, learn from this part of it, right? And know that you're not alone. Know that it is okay not to be okay. And there is still time to change your story. And I love this. I love this conversation. Oh my gosh.
Yes, I am so here for all of what you just said. And the thing about it is, understanding like the epigenetics of it all, when we emotionally heal our money trauma in this lifetime, we actually heal 7 generations back and 7 generations forward. So our children don't have to, and we get to heal for our grandparents and ancestors who weren't able to. So understand how important this type of journey is for the lineage, right? When we're healing money trauma, we are healing it for our line. And I just, and that's something else that really has stuck with me in regards to doing the work this lifetime. So my kids don't have to, but also, understanding like from a standpoint of, human design with my children. So one of my sons is a reflector, which is very rare. It's only 1% of the energy types in the world. And then one of my other sons is a mental projector. And so for instance, my mental projector son, he needs alone time every day to reset his energy, right? So it's like, once I understood my human design, I could take that into my parenting, because it's like, imagine if we were taught to be intuitive and to be in alignment from children, instead of the fears and limiting beliefs our parents put onto us from out of love, right? Out of keeping us safe, which also had us operating out of alignment. So you as a manifesting generator, you typically will have a lot going on because you operate in such an efficient way that way, multitasking. But a lot of manifesting generator children are told to sit still, do one thing, right? Be quiet. And so that carries over into adulthood. So it's like, as we understand the designs of our children as well, then I feel like you just become an overall better parent in addition to the healing you're doing.
Absolutely. And the last time I discussed my human design with somebody, that was the core conversation. And I know that you can help. We talked about this in a previous conversation. This would be huge in communicating with your kids. Like, my kids are adults. I was like, okay, here's the deal. Like, one of my kids is, both of them are amazing. Both of them are completely different humans that I birthed, and they're girls. They're 18 months apart. Like you said, twins can have 2 different human designs, right? And my eldest daughter, everything gets in. She is so empathetic, like way more than my strengths are. And so she cannot calculate all of the emotions, right? Everything gets in. And so when I discuss it, I'm like, she's already fight or flight before I even have this 3rd word out of my mouth. Her cortisol level is already at this level. And so this could be something that could be huge for communication and changing the relationship with your kids after trauma, changing the emotional standpoint of the house at a different age than me working on it at 21 and 19. Like, right? This is when I'm finding human design. You guys are going to have this amazing opportunity to meet Tierra and be like, okay, here's the deal. My kids might be 9 and 11. How do I effectively parent them? How do I rebuild their self-esteem? How do I give them positive boundaries? How do they learn how to self-regulate? in their aligned way, right? This could be massively shifting for your entire family and the lineage, like you said. But I am just diving into there. I totally would love to set up a time to connect with you with my two girls, because we get to break all the cycles, and I get to be aligned with how we conversate, because I get to shift that in my lineage, right? It has never been a great way of being in my family up until now. And again, I'm here for all of the all the changes that I can create while I'm here. And I love this conversation. Oh my gosh, Tierra, we could talk for so long. I know this is not going to be the first conversation that we have, but I know you brought together a gift today for everybody that is joining the summit, and you need to tell us where they can get a hold of you. But first, what did you bring for your free gift?
My goodie.
Sorry.
Yeah, so I have an ebook out, Recognizing Your Narcissist. And it talks a little bit about the language and some of the tactics of dealing with the narcissist. So whether you are rebuilding after being in a narcissistic abusive relationship or think you may be with a narcissist, it just gives some really good advice and tidbits there. And it's available on Amazon, but I'm providing for your audience the PDF free.
Oh,
So
thank
they'll have that. Yeah. And also Stopping the Money Sabotage According to Your Human Design ebook. So yeah, I
Oh my
hope
God,
that,
thank you.
yeah,
This is gonna be powerful. So you get two freebies from Tierra. That is gonna be absolutely powerful. So I know you're on social media. What is your website? We'll have everything will be in the landing page. You guys will have Tierra's bio, how you get to reach her, but if you want to just put it here too, so it's in the recording as they walked back.
yeah, absolutely. So I am at www.thebravewaytribe.com. And I'm mostly on Instagram, although I'm on all the socials, but on Instagram, you can find me at The Brave Way. So please feel free to reach out as well.
Oh my gosh, this has been, oh my gosh, so heartfelt. I have loved every bit of this conversation, Tierra. Thank you so much for joining us in this Women's Wellness Summit. It has been such a blessing, and I know that our audience has just been gifted an amazing, amazing conversation. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. It has been my pleasure. Thank you, Shannon.